So it is my pleasure, actually, to introduce Mr. Joshua Stucky.
Thank you. Wow. Well, let me tell you that all of us have complications in our life, everybody. You know, it could be something very simple and something very complex. Mine's a little bit somewhere in between. You see, I grew up in a farm town called South Charleston, Ohio. It's just over here by Springfield. The difference is I grew up there as a gay man. Yeah, I know you're shocked, aren't you? Growing up as a gay kid in a farm is a different kind of thing. I grew up with 60 kids in my class, all of them mostly athletes or pretty cheerleaders, which, by the way, I did become a pretty cheerleader. I was also the drum major. Are you starting to see the pattern here? But the bottom line is growing up gay is not easy. I got used to words like sissy, fag, queer. It's kind of hurtful. And you got to learn to turn your hurt around. That oddity about you. How do you make it something good? Well, I knew I was going to grow up with prejudice and discrimination. They were going to be my friends. One day I came home to my farmhouse with my mother, who just happened to be in the kitchen making my favorite food, Kraft macaroni and cheese. By the way, I do have to say that during lunch today, my roommate, Brent, went and picked up my mom from Springfield so she could be here. So, Mom. Anyway, she's making Kraft macaroni and cheese, and I'm watching her do this, and she's stirring that big bowl, and I see her take out that silver envelope, and she rips it open, and out comes this electric orange powder. She's pouring in this bowl, and I'm thinking, why is cheese an electric orange powder? But I'm against prejudice and discrimination. So my mom continues to stir up this macaroni and cheese dinner. I go into the other room. Mom says, go watch some TV. It'll be ready in a few minutes. So I go in. In my mind, I'm thinking, man, how am I going to deal with this life I've been given? I look at the television, and there on the television is this Amazon gorgeous woman. Long flowing brown hair, long eyelashes. She's got a lasso, and she's flying in an invisible plane. And I said, who is this woman that is fighting prejudice and discrimination? My mom said to me, that's Linda Carter. She's Wonder Woman. I'm like, oh my gosh. All I need to fight prejudice and discrimination is a big wig and some eyelashes. And the RubiGirls were born, though they weren't called the RubiGirls. I was just a kid that dressed up in women's clothes. We'll get to this. So some of you in the audience are probably thinking, what in God's name is a RubiGirl? Well, there's one. That's probably the most recent solo picture of me. But you know, I know what you're thinking. Why would anybody take that seriously? Okay, I'll give you a little blondish Linda Carter. That's a recent picture too. Thank God for filters on the iPhone. So I started thinking to myself, how can I make myself happy and use this little skill inside of myself and still protect those people that need protecting from prejudice and discrimination? I went to college at Wright State University. And I think that was probably where I was the gayest I ever was in my life. I loved that college. I had a great time there. And I met some really, really great people. You see, as a superhero like Wonder Woman, you have to have a Justice League. And that's these boys. These are the RubiGirls. Now, all superheroes have to have a supervillain, and we really didn't have one. We didn't know what we were fighting against. This has been going on for 30 years, folks. Since 1984, the RubiGirls have been around. It wasn't until the late 80s that we finally found our villain, and his name was HIV. We were doing shows in a little house on Rubicon Street, thus the name RubiGirls, and thus the spelling with the letter I instead of Y. And the RubiGirls over on Rubicon Street, right there by Miami Valley Hospital, started doing these crazy shows in blankets and sheets and pillowcases, but we always wore wigs. These guys who went to UD would come over and be like, what is going on at this house? These parties are out of control. And they were. I tell you, they were. Remember, the 80s were a different time. It was a lot of fun back then. Sorry, Mom. But something was out there killing our friends, the people we loved, people we had fought to be friends with. Some of them are not in this photo. They lost their life. So we decided as this little group of RubiGirls, we were going to go out and save the world. We got invited to do some bars in downtown Dayton and raise some money. And at first we thought this is just a fluke, but it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we were raising money all over the place. And it was awesome to do something because we used our money differently. We made people laugh, so they opened their wallet. We weren't worried about what we looked like. Nobody cared what we looked like. This is us as beer wenches. Not only have we done things for HIV, I want to point out that we've done things for things like the Dayton Art Institute. We've raised thousands for them now. We love the Dayton Art Institute. Yeah, you can catch us there yearly. We pour beer every Friday. It's a lot of fun. This was another thing that I had to call my mom about. I said, Mom, you're not going to believe this. We're going to be like spokesmodels for the new link system in Dayton. She goes, honey, what's a link system? I said, it's a bike system. And we're going to drive from Wayne Avenue all the way down 5th Street, and we're going to go to Courthouse Square for Pride this year. And she's like, you're going to be shot and killed. So not only do we give to, Dayton Art Institute, we give to our community by riding bikes in women's clothes. Many of you are very excited to hear about the Supreme Court and their decision for gay marriage. Yay? Well, we were there. The RubiGirls took a very active role in that. We've been working for that forever, hoping that someday there would be equality, and now it exists. So where do we go from here? Well, we're not finished. I don't know how many of you know this, but gay youth, they are much more likely to be homeless than their heterosexual counterparts. And I know that many of you have heard about It Gets Better campaign to take care of the LGBT youth that are choosing suicide over life. We've got a long way to go. I'm 52, I'm getting tired, but I refuse to quit until this stuff is gone. Because I believe in what we do. I truly do. This is the greatest group of people in Dayton, Ohio, in my opinion, because they're not afraid to go out and do what they feel in their hearts, which is take care of people. Now, I've got this great mom that raised me. Not everybody had a great mom, but I did. And a great dad as well. And what they taught me was, there's something different in you. And your difference is what you use to make a difference. Quit looking at the world and saying, somebody do something. You're the somebody. I hope when you leave here today, you'll do me a favor. I hope you'll walk out of this place and find a phone booth and rip that shirt open. And I hope you'll unleash your RubiGirl. My friends, let me tell you this. There's so much to be done in this world, and it's easy to sit here and listen to all of us. But next year, I can't wait to sit in one of these chairs and see your faces up here telling us about how you have changed this community. Thank you, Dayton. Thank you very much.